Hey guys, this is Casey and welcome back to the channel. So today this is your stimulus update and stimulus package update for July 29, 2020. Now CNN this morning released an article providing the stimulus state of play. And basically they stated that the two sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, are more than $2 trillion apart. And there isn't a clear path to the deal. So today I want to discuss with you guys why there appears to be a very huge part from each other and exactly where we are in the process. So the Democrats have a proposal on the table and the Republicans now have a proposal on the table that they should have had on the table weeks ago. The two sides are roughly $2.5 trillion apart, and that's on the top line. Now on a granular level, they have 4 days to reach a deal before the federal unemployment officially expires in the month. Now, the congressional leaders in the White House, they're now at the stage that they expected to be in weeks ago, and that it really isn't helpful with the deadline pressure. But the bigger issue is the current negotiating dynamics. The Senate Republican leaders, they remain very split on whether any proposal is even necessary at all. And on top of that, they've grown extremely frustrated with the White House. So there appears to be a lot of discontent right now, or I should say dissent between the White House and the Republicans, which is very weird because they should technically be on the same side. Now, in terms of the timeline, Nancy Pelosi came out and she stated that as of right now, they're not even sure that they're going to get a package approved before the end of the month. She stated that they think that they're going to probably get it done before the recess, but they're saying that this may take a few weeks. And Democrat leader Chuck Schumer is also reiterating that point as well. That just based on the way that the talks have been going with Stephen Mnuchin, the Treasury, and also with the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, that they think that this could go into right before recess next month, which really isn't a totally positive thing. Now, the process. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, he underscored the somewhat lengthy path ahead, but they are actively working on trying to get something done. Now, as of right now, the Republicans have called their proposal the skinny proposal. And it's not really funny, but it's kind of funny. Nancy Pelosi stated that, she said, well, it's a good thing that they call it the skinny proposal because that's what it is when there's not going to be any food to eat because of how small their bill is. And the Democrats, they have a much more significant package on the table right now, and they're not piecing their package together. They don't want to scale back. They want to ensure that everything is very plentiful with providing supplements for schools, for housing, for layoffs, for jobs, for everything else. Now, the GOP frustrations have really escalated over the past few weeks between the Senate Republicans and the White House because the White House wants to put in a lot of addendums that don't really have much to do with the package at all, with the stimulus package. So as I've stated in the previous video, they want to provide funding for tax breaks for businesses, and even I'm referring to the White House. Even the GOP themselves are not on board with that, but the White House is adamant that they want that to be in the package. And so they're really at lengths. In addition to that, there's a few other addendums as well in the package that just absolutely make no sense whatsoever. And this is another reason why the sides appear to be very far apart. One of them being is that there is an addendum put in for the FBI building. So in this stimulus package bill that the GOP have included, they are trying to get $1.75 billion to fund and design and construct a new FBI building headquarters in Washington, D.C. Yeah, y'all, this is actually part of the stimulus package that they're trying to include. It's crazy. In addition to that, they're also including the Senate Appropriate Committee Chairman, Richard Shelby. He's an Alabama Republican. He is trying to clear the way for a $8 billion funding for fighter jets, helicopters, armored vehicles, and so forth for the military. He wants that being in the package. Now, these are two really big hangups that the Republicans are arguing with over the Democrats. And, as of right now, they have no belonging in the package whatsoever. So why this appears to be two big hangups is really concerning. In addition to that, there's a few other major differences as well. And I'm just going to kind of go down the list here, so bear with me. One is the federal unemployment enhancement. So the Democrats said that they would like to extend the $600 federal unemployment enhancement, although it's not a sticking point. So they're not stuck on that. And as we've already discussed, the Republicans, they want to drop that down to $200 for the first 2 months until things can get situated at the state level, and then they can scale that back to 70% of the prior earnings. Now, in addition to that, state and local funding is another sticking point. So the Democrats, they have included $1 trillion in funds for states and localities in their proposal. The Republicans have not included that much. They actually want that to be less than half. So actually, as a matter of fact, in the latest proposal, they didn't even include any funds whatsoever in their proposal for their state and local funding. So that's really weird. So you can see that these two things alone are really big concerns as to why they're such a sticking point. Also, rental and food assistance is another big sticking point. So the Democrats have made clear that their priorities for talks, that there has to be rental and food assistance so that people don't get evicted, and so that people who've lost their jobs as a result of COVID-19 can get assistance to stay in their home until they can find a job. Well, the GOP proposal, there are no provisions whatsoever for rental and food assistance. Zero. So that's a big sticking point. Actually, a huge sticking point. Also, the liabilities protections. So one of the a very big red line that McConnell for the GOP has stated that he's made very clear that he's not going to approve anything is that he wants liability protections for businesses, schools, and healthcare providers and not-for-profits that absolve them from being sued if any of their employees or patients or I guess students get sick in school. I guess the thinking is that, if someone goes to school and or an employee or what have you, and if they get sick, even if it's in the building, that they want to ensure that the businesses are absolved from any responsibility. He stated that is a hard line stance. He's very adamant that he wants that in the bill, and the Democrats do not want that in the bill. So that's a really big concern. And then another sticking point is education. So the Republicans, they've included $105 billion for schools in the proposal. And that includes $70 billion for K-12, $30 billion for colleges and universities. The K-12 funding would be split with 1/3 of the funds being deployed immediately to schools on a per capita basis, and the other 2/3 being dispersed immediately if half of the students are back in school on an in-person basis, at least 50% of the time. But the Democrats, they have pushed for more than $400 billion for schools to tie up funds to bring students back. So that is significantly more than the $105 billion that the Republicans have stated. Now there is a sweet spot, that they are willing to, meet in the middle somewhere, maybe say $250, somewhere around there. But there are going to need to be additional funds that can really help keep schools and buildings and so forth, running and protected. And then last but not least, there's the sticking points of the general structural agreement, the direct payments. Now, the positive thing is that this appears to be the one thing that they are in agreement on, right? And that is the direct payments, the $1,200. So the Republicans have repeated the exact same thing in relation to the direct payment structure, that they want it to be the same as the first round of checks, which is a very positive thing. So the Republicans and Democrats are on board with the direct payment status. Right. The only sticking point is that the Republicans, they want more assistance for families with adult dependents, and the Democrats, they want more assistance for people with child dependents. So at this point, it's a fairly reconcilable difference. I mean, at least the core of distributing $1,200 checks is agreed upon, but they need to come to an agreement as to whether or not how they're going to do the dependent amounts. And then last but not least, the sticking point is the Paycheck Protection Program. So the Republicans, they have included $190 billion for the new Paycheck Protection Program, and another $60 billion for long-term low-interest loans. Much of this was drafted through bipartisan support with the Senate and lawmakers, and so I don't think that this is going to be a huge sticking point, but it is one to note because it's stated that the Democrats now may want to have that be a lower amount. But overall, guys, this is pretty much it. This is a very clear and outlined layout of what all the sticking points are currently between the Democratic proposal and the recently proposed Republican proposal. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys surprised that this is taking this long, or do you guys think that we should have had something done, weeks ago at this point? And then yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. So if you guys have gotten to the end of the video, I really appreciate you guys following and supporting. Hopefully you found the content very beneficial. I would highly recommend that you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. So this is a financial education channel, but as of late, we've been providing the latest stimulus updates and the stimulus package updates to ensure that you guys stay up to date on the latest. Because as I promised you guys, as soon as information gets released online, that I was going to be keeping you guys abreast with that. So hopefully this has been very beneficial to you all. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.